The CCP must know that every act of coercion will result in a countermeasure from the United States and its allies, and that the PRC must abide by the same international rules and norms that everyone else in the international community is bound by. We must also recognize the immense economic pressure that the PRC puts on our allies, partners, and friends around the world. The CCP uses debt trap diplomacy through the Belt and Road Initiative to achieve its political goals abroad, so much so that it is willing to crash economies and generate instability as it did in Sri Lanka. This pressure is especially overt in the Indo-Pacific Islands, where PRC diplomats host politicians for dinner, and those politicians leave with envelopes full of cash and promises of major infrastructure projects. It's unfair. It's an unfair fight, and we need to show up.
Let me start by saying, the PRC will, try to put out a dialogue saying, that the United States is trying to, isolate the Chinese economically. The truth is, we'd like to maintain the status quo, which has lifted all the countries in that region through a rules-based order. But we have to respond to Chinese aggression and Chinese economic coercion. And the countries in the Indo-Pacific know firsthand. You can look at Chinese economic coercion against the Republic of Korea when we deployed THAAD batteries for the protection and the defense of Korea. The Japanese have faced economic coercion and blowback. The Australians have faced economic coercion and blowback. You see Chinese aggression in the South China Sea. You see them encroaching on Vietnam's exclusive economic zone, the Filipinos' exclusive economic zone. And it's incredibly important for us to understand how they're using economic coercion and how we can counter this. It's also my hope that as the G7 meets in Hiroshima, that they will also discuss economic coercion, and hopefully we will see some statements of support for a rules-based order and how the G7 can work together to support one another, but also to support some of those smaller economies and smaller countries should they face Chinese economic coercion.